Jack Hermansson versus Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer got fraud checked. He seems like a talented guy.
He does.
He does. You know, he's got all the star power.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a problem there going into that fight, and you could kind of see it in the way that he fought, was he was just really relying on that one ticket, you know, like on getting that knockout punch. And he did shoot for a few takedowns, but Jack managed to stuff every single one.
He looked a lot bigger, like physically bigger than Jack. He looked like he was a weight class above Hermansson in the cage with him. But I mean, all of his takedowns seem to be kind of like desperation takedowns after he was realizing, I just keep getting jabbed over and over and over again, and then leg kicked, and then jabbed, and then leg kicked, and then 1-2. You know, and Jack was looking pretty good on the feet. Yeah,
and he just really just stripped it back to the basics.
Jab, calf kick.
And I think when you're someone like Joe Pyfer, who's going in there quite a bit more unexperienced than Hermansson, taking it back to the basics and fighting someone at that kind of game with that kind of game plan, it can be really hard because Jack's going to be way better versed in those basic things, like you say, like the jab, 1-2, and the leg kicks. I mean, Joe Pyfer was doing all right with the leg kicks for the first couple of rounds, but it really started to turn.
In the end. In the first round, we saw why he's so dangerous. Like, Jack didn't want anything to do with his striking. He didn't even try to go for a takedown, which is impressive. But, you could tell he was a little bit, not timid, but he was wary of the power.
Yeah.
But defensively, extremely sound. And after round one, he realized, right, this guy's got a 1-2. He's got a hook, and that's it. That is really it. He's not mixing in any kicks. And then he, just jab, leg kick, mixed in a few real slick right hands every now and then. And Pyfer, he beat the shit out of him.
Yep.
Beat the fucking shit out of him. And he had nothing towards the end. Nothing. I still think there's a big future for Pyfer.
Yeah, definitely. I think he'll rebuild from this and come back, and we'll probably see quite a rejuvenated Joe in the next...
Rejuvenated Joe?
Yep. That's what it will be called.
Rejuvenated Joe. The fucking
Bruce Buffer announcing
mythic
it.
fighter. They do like the mystic fighters. Rejuvenated Joe.
No, I think this will be good for him. Because like we said before, this was a massive jump up in competition.
Yeah, this was a fucking hugely significant jump. And the guy's only 27.
That is really young for a mixed martial artist.
It is. But yeah, you're right. This will show him what he needs to do to get to the top, basically. And I think he'll come back, and he's still potentially a future top 5, top 10 guy.
I think so.
As of right now, he's just not there.
But needs just to focus on the basics, I think.
100%.
He's got the finishing power in his hands, and he's got really decent skills on the ground. I think it's just about really strengthening up the basic stuff in between.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen success at the championship level with stripping it back to basics. Sean Strickland just
in the same division.
Yep.
Against a guy like Jack Hermansson as well.
Yep.
He's done it against him. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Yeah. Maybe a bit of work on the gas tank as well. Not that he looked too gas towards the end, but you could tell he lost a lot of his power towards the end.
Oh yeah.
Which is, obviously that's a natural thing to happen for a guy of that body type, but at the same time, you want to have a guy who's got gas until the very end of the fight.
I agree.
But Hermansson looked like, he could make a push. You never know. He deserves to fight up next for sure.
He was calling for Imavov.
Imavov's a pretty good shout, to be fair.
Like we said the other day, like there's not really many people for Imavov to fight at the moment.
No. Why is he not in the rankings?
Who?
Oh yeah, he is. He's number 8. Sorry, I just couldn't see him.
No, you're right, mate.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate. He's gone up 3, so number 8 would make sense. Imavov, Jack Hermansson, it would make sense. Saying that Imavov's going to want to fight up too. So,
but who?
Brendan Allen is booked, I think,
and he's only one step up as well.
Yeah. Honestly, Jack Hermansson versus Imavov. See who really wants it. I think that's the perfect fight.
I think the thing for people like that are riding that kind of train now because Imavov is coming off a really decent win in the likes of that when he took over Delitse last weekend.
Okay.
I think if you put these guys up against each other, that sets them up for one more fight with someone in the top 5, and then boom, you're right in there fighting for the belt if you can
100%.
if you can get that done.
Yeah. No, 100%. Jack's only thing is he's fought a lot of the top guys and lost to a lot of the top guys.
I'm not saying it'll happen.
No, yeah. Like he has, but we've seen people come back from runs like that. Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
You know, all these people who traditionally faltered when it came to the big tests.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen them turn it around and come back and get belts or push towards the top of the division.
Strickland's another example.
Strickland, yeah, exactly. Lost to 2 of the top guys, came back, got to that top of that heap. So, you never know. In terms of Pyfer, he needs to fight outside of the top 15. Maybe against someone veteran again who's not quite as good.
Do you know, I like him versus Chris Curtis.
We always say
I know we match Chris Curtis up against anyone, but if you put those two together in a 3-round fight,
oh yeah,
neither of them are gonna stand down. Yeah, it is gonna be fireworks. Chris has decent enough wrestling to also stuff the takedowns and keep it on the feet.
True,
but I think the safer option would be for Joe to maybe have another couple of fights outside and just really hone his skills. Yeah, like we were saying before,
winnable fight, very winnable fights, not tough fights, just winnable fights.
Yeah,
favorable matchups. I mean, if you're wanting to keep him in the top 15, like say Chris Curtis, Anthony Hernandez, that you're looking at that bottom 3.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want it. Paul Craig. I feel like he'd murder Paul Craig.
I feel like anyone in the top 15 right now would murder Paul Craig.
Who did he beat in the top 15 to get there? I can't remember. Was it Anthony Hernandez? He TKO'd someone, but like the way he got absolutely manhandled by Brendan Allen, the guy shouldn't be anywhere near the top 15.
Yeah,
fucking light heavyweight division. He's micro machines, and this is the issue.
Middleweight division
with the middleweight. Oh yeah, sorry, he went down, didn't he?
No, you're right.
He looked smaller than Brendan Allen, which is weird.
Yeah, he does look small for someone who's just come down from the weight class above.
But yeah, I mean, Pyfer versus Chris Curtis will be pretty fun.
It would be fun.
Hermansson versus Imavov is probably the perfect matchup.
Pyfer versus Chris Curtis could be the main event for UFC 300.
Could be the main event we've been waiting for. It really could at this point.
That would just top it off.
Apparently they're making a documentary.
About what?
About 300, trying to put the card together.
Really?
Apparently. I mean,
they should make a motion picture about it. And just Dana's like breaking down the whole time.
Yeah, but it's make like a live action movie, not a documentary.
Yeah.
Who would play Dana? Joe Rogan?
Joe what? No, surely he'd have to be in it too.
Yeah.
They'd have him play himself and he'd just be doing his podcast and he'd be like saying like, oh, they still haven't got a main event.
And then they'd just take it. I'd be willing.
Yeah.
I'd actually be willing. If they're paying right, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Pretty well.
That's true.
Like, for me to, get up and do that kind of thing. But, who's going to play Joe Pyfer in all this?
I don't know.
Dana White.
Dana White is going to play Joe Pyfer in the motion picture.
I want to see Hamzat versus Joe Pyfer.
Oh my god.
UFC 300.
That would be devastating.
But not fighting. I want to see them playing themselves in the movie.
Right.
UFC 300 movie. And they'll pretend to fight.
Yeah.
But they're actually pretending to fight as Conor McGregor and Khabib.
Yeah. And then Hamzat just forgets that he's in a movie and he just
beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And then it turns into a gay porn and they just start fucking
rightio. So the co-main event,